Voices is a session of comments, interviews, and analysis of current political issues, how they affect and shape the world around you and I. Today is Wednesday, 26th of May, 2021. My name is Jude Thomas Dawam. Today we are discussing the 1999 constitutional amendment, challenges and solutions to insecurity in the Southeast. Now, before we dig into that, these are some of the political stories that we are tracking. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has vowed not to abide by the recent agreement reached between the federal government and the striking judiciary and parliamentary workers in Nigeria. Recall that the judicial and parliamentary workers have been on a nationwide strike for close to 2 months over the non-implementation of judicial and legislative financial autonomy by state governments. After a series of meetings between the striking workers and the federal government, the two parties last week reached an agreement over the mode of implementation of the legislative and judicial financial autonomy at the state level. But speaking during a valedictory court session in honor of the retired Chief Judge of the state, Justice Adama Laminkara, Governor Wike claimed that he had already commenced the implementation of financial autonomy for the judiciary and vowed not to set up any committee as agreed by the striking workers and the federal government. The All Progressive Congress APC has said that the commissioning of its Southeastern Zonal Secretariat, earlier slated for May 28, has been postponed to June 4 in Enugu. National Secretary, APC Caretaker and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committees, Senator John Akpanodo-Dehe, made this known in a statement in Abuja on Tuesday. According to him, the development followed the tragic mishap that claimed the life of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Ibrahim Atahiru, and 10 other military officers, while appealing to the party's leaders to show understanding in the circumstance. And finally, the Akwa Ibom State chapter of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has debunked the rumor that the governor of the state, Mr. Udom Emmanuel, was hitching plans to defect to the All Progressive Congress APC. The publicity secretary of PDP in the state, Baron Obasi, in a statement issued to journalists in Uyo on Tuesday, described the rumor as a product of hallucinations from the opposition party in the state. Basi, who emphasized that no PDP governor that had performed well in office would think of jumping ship, urged Akwa Ibom people to discountenance the rumor, adding that the defection rumor was a mere wish of APC members to have the governor as their member to see if his presence in the party could rescue them. These are some of the few political headlines that we are following. Remember, you can send us a message on Facebook, and it's 925 Dream FM, and on Twitter, it's at Dream 925 FM, or you can send us a WhatsApp message on this number, 090200 20925. Do stay with us. It's still Political Voices right here on 92.5 Enugu's Dream FM. Political Voices is live as always, and today we're discussing the 1999 constitutional amendment, challenges and solutions to insecurity in the Southeast. Now, I'll quickly just introduce my guest who's in the building with me this morning. We're expecting another person, but now in the studio we have Comrade Fidelis Ede, Executive Director, Service the Code Initiative, farmer, lawyer, and former labor leader. Sir, you're welcome.
Thank you, my honor, Jude.
All right. Now, while we wait for the other guest, I'll quickly give a short background of this topic. The National Assembly Constitutional Review Committee has released a timetable for public hearing in the 6 geopolitical zones with 17 issues to be deliberated on. The public hearing is slated to hold today and tomorrow simultaneously in 12 locations across the country. Here in the Southeast, there are 2 centers, Enugu and Owerri Center. The location for the public hearing in Enugu is at Amadio Event Center behind Oakland Hotel. For Anambra is Ebonyi. For Anambra, Ebonyi, and Enugu State, while the venue for Owerri Center is at Protea Hotels. For Imo and Abia States, the time for both is 10 a.m. Now, among the issues listed for public hearing are devolution of power, establishment of state police, constitutional roles for traditional rulers, and electoral reforms. How can we leverage on this scheduled public hearing to address the challenges as well as find lasting solutions to security issues in the Southeast? Now, that's the question. How do we leverage on this constitutional amendment?
Well, Jude, thank you. Leveraging the constitutional amendment first is in line with the provisions of the Constitution that the Constitution can be altered. Now, if we relate it to your question, how do we leverage? The issue will now be, to what weight can we place the outcome of the contributions those who will be communicating their positions in the two centers you have mentioned, focused on Southeast? I think that is where the question or the challenge lies. You will also acknowledge that this is not the first constitutional amendment. You also note that the issues you've raised and itemized are not just new issues. In fact, every one of those issues emerged as issues that we adequately canvassed and decisions taken on during the 1914 confab organized by the former president, Jonathan. But Jude, let me try to situate my position this way. I do not think that the challenge now is so much about the process of consultation, which is purely discretionary. There is no constitutional provision backing this process in terms of securing or safeguarding the contributions the people will be making. If you recall, before 1999, we had a transition to civil rule decree 1998. It was that decree that brought in the processes that led to election of both representatives at the executive and legislative level, at the national and at the state levels. Now, if you look at it, the challenge we've had about the 1999 Constitution, which has remained consistent, is that Nigerians seem not to be connected with the provisions of the Constitution as a document they authored and adopted. Yes, we elected people in 1999, but we did not hand to them the instrument, which is the Constitution. And it was taught. I believe that those who made the Constitution would have thought by 20 years after, we would have had a document that we can genuinely begin to say that this is the Constitution made by the Nigerian people through their representatives. But let me now tell you where I find the lacuna. Is that if you go to Section 9 of the Constitution that authorizes how the Constitution can be amended, you will discover that there is no role that is given to the people. And that is why, at the end of the day, the consultation we are having will be subject to the final decision of the legislatures. So they will now, at the end of the day, begin to choose what to be accepted and what not to be accepted. And that is why there has been this strong position that a provision be made that part of the way we can also alter the Constitution alter it, means that there should be a referendum. If you look at section 9, the last subsection is 4, subsection 4. And people are saying it's not everything that we can begin to bring to bear through referendum. But there are 3 critical pillars that any country that operates a rigid constitution, which is written constitution, ought to address through referendum. First is the constitutive nature, which is one of the challenges we are having as how did we come about to be Nigeria? The second is the governance structure, which you are likely to find that deals with the fundamental objectives you'll find in chapter 4. Then the third is the technical structure through which you can conduct governance.